Am I the asshole for telling my stepdaughter to stop using period products in the bathroom she shares with my teenage sons? I have been living with my new wife and stepdaughter for about 6 months now. She's 19, almost 20, and I have 3 sons aged 18, 16 and 15. She's a really good kid, and she's a good influence on my sons. I really enjoy having her around. My wife and her daughter moved into my house and sold theirs. My stepdaughter's father isn't present in her life, nor is my son's mother. All 4 children share a bathroom. My sons have never lived for a long period of time with a woman, nor have any of them had long-term girlfriends. They had short visitation periods when they were younger, but never longer than an hour, so living with 2 women has been unusual for them. My eldest son, 18, came to me last week and told me that his stepsister disposes of her used sanitary products in the trash can they share, but doesn't use toilet rolls or sandwich bags to disguise what they are, and it makes him uncomfortable, which I think is reasonable. My sons are teenage boys and don't want to see their stepsister's period products on full display. A few nights ago, I went into the kitchen to grab a snack, and she was there doing some work for university. My wife had mentioned that she knew she was on her period, so I took it as an opportunity to have a word with her. I told her my sons were uncomfortable, and asked her if she'd mind putting her used products in diaper bags or flushing them down the toilet. She laughed, and told me it was rich coming from a man who sheds like a gorilla and has produced 3 skid-marking sons, which I thought was just an unnecessary attack. I've been nothing but nice to the girl, and it's hardly a comparison. My sons shouldn't be subjected to her unhygienic products if it makes them uncomfortable. She went on to lecture me about how tampons can be flushed, and that it's bad for the environment if she uses diaper bags for everyone, which I think is just an excuse. I called her scruff and told her that this was my house, and that what I say goes. I later asked my wife if she could have a word with her, and she told me I was being ridiculous, and that her daughter has had her period for 10 years and knows what she's doing. When I told her it was making my sons uncomfortable, she said my sons needed to get a grip and turn over and went to sleep. This is a genuine issue to me, and she didn't care enough to have a discussion about it. I asked my stepdaughter again in the morning, and she did the same as her mother, completely dismissed it. Both of them have told me to stop being so silly, but I don't see how I'm being unreasonable when it makes my sons uncomfortable. Am I the asshole? We have a short update, but first, let's discuss. I'll start by saying being grossed out by any kind of bodily excretions is totally normal. We are wired to be disgusted. It helps us survive as a species. Otherwise, we probably would have licked some feces and died hundreds of thousands of years ago, because we are not the smartest. However, we live in a society and share bathrooms. So, inevitably, you are gonna see some shit, literally and figuratively, and you have to be at least okayish with it. Skid marks were mentioned. I think they're completely normal in a toilet, but so is period blood. Being disproportionately disgusted by one thing and not the other smells like misogyny. By the way, it's interesting how we don't have direct quotes from OP's sons, but he keeps saying period products, not period blood. So are they uncomfortable with the mere fact she's on her period, or is it just phrasing by OP? Now, I don't want to be harsh with OP's sons, they're very young after all, but it's on OP to educate them and prepare them for adult life. Otherwise, assuming they're into women, this attitude might cost them later. You're not setting them up for success by treating periods as something embarrassing. Was the girl rude in her response? Yes, but I can't even blame her. Imagine you are 19 and a man in his 40s, 50s, who's not your father, whom you've known for maybe a couple of years at this point. It's not entirely clear from the post, but that's the vibe I'm getting. Decides to micromanage your period. Talk about being uncomfortable. You could get shit-faced by drinking every time OP says, "makes my sons uncomfortable," but he seemingly has no such qualms about making his stepdaughter uncomfortable. I'm sure he thought he was tactful about it, but it still came off as a personal attack. Probably should have consulted your wife before jumping into this talk. I'm also kinda confused by his suggested solutions. Use a toilet roll as a disguise? You mean a piece of toilet paper? You don't mean the whole roll, do you? Do you? Diaper bags? Here's what I found by googling it. That doesn't help. And flushing tampons down the toilet? By this point, it's clear you're not the sharpest pencil in the box, but can you at least Google it before telling other people what to do? I suppose there could be a way of finding a compromise. For example, she could wrap each tampon in a piece of toilet paper, or you could install another trash can, the kind with a lid that opens when you put your foot on a pedal. But for this to be fair, the boys would also need to make some adjustments. Clean their skid marks, for example, if it's bothering her. To sum up, OP is the asshole and needs to educate his sons. Reddit's verdict is also asshole. But hey, there's a happy ending. Update. Not even 2 hours after I posted this, my wife and stepdaughter gathered my sons and I and gave us a full intensive periods for pricks course. PowerPoint and all. It was a hoot. They made an interactive quiz and everything. My sons and I learned a lot and apologized to my stepdaughter. Thank you for your input. I'm happy it ended this way. I wish he shared more details about this presentation, but let's see the comments. Top comment reads, "You are the asshole. Sorry, but what? I'm a guy and realize this is ridiculous. You need to help yourself and your sons become better men and accept that it's a natural process. Are you uncomfortable with your wife's use of the same? I assume not, so teach your sons to be better." Someone else says, "He said in his replies that she wraps the pads/tampons in the packaging before throwing them away, so the sons can't even see any blood, and the garbage bin has a lid." Okay, so I was right to question his phrasing. They're uncomfortable because she has periods, not even because they see any blood. So I found some comments from OP, and they're not good, at least not until the moment his wife and daughter straighten him up. The commenter suggests wrapping the products in toilet paper or getting a separate trash can with a lid, and here's what OP says. Our trash can has a lid, and she wraps them in the wrappers. But my sons still know what they are! Downvoted 1,900 times. Fair. Someone replies, "Jesus Christ, dude! Then you're really off the fucking rails here." Agree. This is an unhinged reaction to wrapped tampons. Well, any tampons, but especially wrapped. So, OP is getting absolutely trashed in the comments, and he deserved it. Someone has a malicious compliance suggestion. Also, he asked her to throw them in the toilet. She should 100% do this and then watch when he has to hire a plumber because of the clog. Then shrug and say, "I just threw them in the toilet like you requested." I love this. But after the trashing and the presentation, OP magically changed his tune. It's like he's a different person. And turns out we have more details about the presentation. Someone says, "I'd like to see the PowerPoint. What were the main slides?" And OP replies, "Began with anatomy and the reasons behind why periods happen, what having a period feels like, the stages of the menstrual cycle, such as PMS, and the fertile window, sanitary products, including menstrual cups and such. They're incredible women." The boys absolutely loved it. They found it great. My youngest son won the quiz by a landslide. His prize is a piece of cake. Okay, I just hope it sticks.